Hey there, this is Czyli Podcast episode 69, Bug Girl Pronunciation Tip. My name's Ola and I'm an English teacher. This podcast is for you if you want to start speaking English fearlessly. I help people fight the fear of speaking, become confident, fluent and independent. I have eliminated a massive language blockade myself and I teach others how to achieve that. In this episode, you'll practice speaking and in turn boost your vocabulary, brush up your grammar and improve your pronunciation. Go to my website for full transcripts and worksheets to each episode. Happy learning! Hello and welcome back to Teacher Ola Podcast. I hope you're doing fine. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Let me give a quick shout out to top people. Top people are listening to this podcast regularly and receive beautiful letters from me every week. In those letters, I inform them about new episodes and I teach something small. This is the first place I go when I want to inform you about something. So get over to teacherola.com/newsletter. This is how you become a member of Top People. teacherola.com/newsletter. What are we going to cover today? First and foremost, you'll learn about one type of assimilation. You'll find out what happens and how to connect two words when one of them ends in the D sound and the next one begins with the G or K sound. Does it occur in every situation? Do you have to implement this? Before that, I'll remind you what assimilation is and why it is important. I'll also tell you one of many reasons why I do not accept course books when it comes to learning a language. Then you'll practice here during the episode. You'll hear 11 sentences with this type of assimilation and I'll ask you to repeat all of them out loud. Assimilation yet again. In linguistics, assimilation is the fact of a speech sound being influenced by the sound that comes before or after it. This is one of the aspects of connected speech. So how the sounds change when you connect words, especially when you speak fast. For example, black and white. It's not black and white, but black and white. Or rock and roll. Rock and roll. Rock and roll. I think you should listen to two other episodes of assimilation. Go to episode 57 and to episode 65. So 57 and 65. I'll link them in the show notes to this episode as well. Why is assimilation important? For a few reasons, but I'd like you to think about one now. You want to understand people speaking with a natural tempo. That is people speaking fast, let's face it. In my opinion, understanding connected speech is your priority. I think understanding how sounds are connected is crucial, essential for your ability to understand. Of course, you need to learn words. Nobody argues with that. That is not a question. But even if you have it in you, all the words, all the vocabulary elements, all the phrases and idioms and whatnot, but you don't get what people say, you can't make those words out, and what's the point? Do you know what shocks me? When I listen to some recordings from course books for English learners, or especially course books preparing students for Matura exam. Those listening tasks don't prepare learners for the real world. Oh my god. There's no connected speech, there's no natural tempo. It sounds fake. It sounds as it is. I mean, poor reading script. Well, that might be the reason why we later struggle with understanding. Hi, how are you today? I'm fine, thank you. And you? Me, I'm fabulous. Guess what? My parents have bought me a new pet. Blah, 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 blah. Let's be real. Let's work on fixing that. Okay, time to start. What happens when one word ends with the D sound and the next word begins with the G or K sound? Do you pronounce them clearly? It depends. If you want to, sure. Bad girl, for example. You can clearly distinguish the D sound and the G sound. Bad girl. D, G. Bad girl. Or when you put extra emphasis on these words, she is a really bad girl. Do you really think she's innocent? No, she's a bad girl. We know that the bed ends in the sound d, of course, you might say now. But things do change when you speak fast. When you speak fast, you don't pronounce the d sound. Listen to this. Do you hear the sound d in this phrase? She's a bad girl. She's a bad girl. Wow, what was that? Well, when we speak fast and fluently, the d sound changes into the g sound when it's followed by a g or k. Bad girl, bad girl. You know what? The best way to embrace this assimilation thing is to practice. Let's move on to practice that. First, I'll give you 2 words only, and then after you repeat it out loud, please listen to the whole sentence and repeat after me out loud. If you're here for the first time, first of all, thank you for staying with me until now in this episode, and please repeat out loud. It's very, very important for your memory. If you want to learn more about the importance of self-talk, please find episode 9. Let's begin. Listen and repeat. Good cook. She's always been a good cook. Had gorillas. I wish I had gorillas on my t-shirt. Hard copy. Show me the hard copy, please. Red carpet. Have you seen her dress on that red carpet? Hundred Gardens. This city is called the City of 100 Gardens. Had guests. Last weekend they had guests. 100 kisses. My son gave me 100 kisses before he fell asleep. Dad could. My dad could swim when he was 3. Good cake. It was such a good cake. Child cleans. This child cleans his room every week. Solid computer. You should buy a solid computer. Well done, but your lesson hasn't finished yet. Now please go to teacherola.com/69 and download the worksheet. If you've subscribed to my newsletter, you have your worksheet in your inbox. Go to this worksheet and translate 10 sentences from this episode into English. The second homework is to open your ears and open your mind and be a detective. Try to focus during listening a bit more and try to catch this assimilation in action. Time to summarize. If one word ends with the sound d and then following word begins with the g or k sound, the sound d changes into g, like in good girl. It happens when you speak fast and fluently. If you want to put extra emphasis on these particular words, then forget about assimilation and say it clearly. Bad? No, she's a good girl. Please spread the word, share this podcast with someone you think might need it, and please do it if you think that this podcast is valuable. Thank you for listening to this short episode. I hope you've learned a lot, and be here next Wednesday because we're going to learn some vocabulary. Subscribe to this podcast if you haven't yet, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Goodbye, take care, happy learning.